Guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about our first project, and this is going to be one kind of interesting build if I don't say so myself. What we're going to start off with would be a single cab M35 M35A2 deuce and a half. No backstory on where the deuce and a half how it got its name is on the road it'll pull 5 to 7 tons of cargo and shit easily, but when they were mostly used in World War II, there wasn't a whole lot of road. It would pull only about 2.5 tons was its absolute limit when driving off-road and towing off-road. So there's a little fun fact for y'all. The first thing we're going to start out doing is, for those that are unfamiliar on this engine or this entire vehicle, this vehicle is a single cab, multi-fuel, 6-cylinder engine. High-powered diesel engine can, well, since it's multi-fueled, you can run anything you have lying around that's flammable. I can pick up a bottle of charcoal fluid, pour it in the gas tank, and run it just fine. Although it would be probably wiser to mix diesel, from what I'm understanding, is any other fluids other than straight diesel, just mix a little bit of diesel in there and you'll be alright. First thing we're doing though is the brakes. The brakes are air powered. And since it's air powered, if you lose one brake, you lose all your brakes on all 6 wheels. I forgot to mention, this truck with a flip of a switch will have 6x6 all-wheel drive. This particular truck will be manual. Figuring out the manual shifting is going to be a bit difficult, but that's to figure out at a later date. The second thing we're going to do is replace all the rotors and stuff on all the tires, do a full complete brake job, and instead of having air brakes, we're going to do hydraulic brakes. More details into how that's going to work later. Next thing we're going to immediately install is about a 4.5-5 foot snorkel. That way we can drive through ponds, lakes, pretty much damn near anything our plays kind of thing. From there, we're gonna this particular truck does bare minimum. It is bare minimum. It doesn't even have a fuse box. So we're gonna actually install our own massive, high power, high output, high energy, whatever you want to call it, fuse box relay station into the engine, and most likely be putting a moderate sized fuse box inside the cab. The next project, we're going to take 2 80-gallon fluid tanks, and basically I'm going to mount one of them on each side of the I would say cab. Oh, that brings me to another point. We're also going to be undoing the complete bed, which is about a 15 to 17 foot by 7 foot bed. Scooting it back about 4 to 6 feet and hope shit doesn't go awry and it falls off. And actually putting in an entire back seat, turning the single cab into a full-on crew cab. The back doors on the crew cab, interesting thing is both back doors are going to be suicide doors to prevent any harm to anybody around or operating the vehicle due to the smokestacks and the high heat output those things put out. But back to the fuel tanks, right behind the cab on both sides, I'm going to seal the main tank off, and I guess you could say the 80 gallon both 80-gallon tanks are going to both have their own little cap and fuel neck, as well as dump straight up into the main tank. So pretty much you have one of those full to the brim, you're pretty much going to have all three tanks were full, worth about just over 200 gallons worth of fuel. Next up, what we're gonna be doing, well, we're actually gonna be working on the frame and the bed. We're gonna be taking some 3/4 inch steel rebar and kind of, I guess, reinforcing and giving additional support to the bed. We don't want that thing just disappearing while we're driving down the highway. That'd be very, very bad. If you have that dark sense of humor, it'd probably be funny. Not even gonna lie, it'd probably be funny. But needless to say, we don't want to lose the bed of the truck. Next thing we're doing is we're going to be installing actually 8 cots that will fold straight up into the wall, just to have for extra bedding. And I do believe I may have forgot to mention the whole general purpose for this vehicle. This vehicle is, when completely finished, is supposed to be not only just a fire rescue truck, it is supposed to be a mass casualty care or a mass trauma vehicle, able to respond to all medical, all hostile, and all fire calls. On top of that, this truck is not meant to be run with a crew any less than 6 personnel, including the driver and the passenger sitting next to the driver. 6 personnel must be on that truck to run it perfectly and efficiently. We're also going to be tearing out all of the seats and installing roughly about 10 to 12 Air Ride SCBA air pack seats, which, if you're familiar with fire engines, it's the same seats that the firemen sit in when they rush to a fire, which holds their air pack, so that when they hop in the truck, they strap up, and when they get to the scene, they lean forward and go on about their day. Go kick the fire's ass or something. So that'll be interesting to do. Next up, we will be doing, let's see, we will be actually converting the truck bed into a secondary mass, I guess you could call it a camper cabin. It'll have a small, sturdy, or it'll have a cheap but durable kitchen, completely set up with fully running water, including hot water. They'll have a toilet, a full shower, and it's going to be like a mobile home on steroids, I guess you could say. An ultimate bug-out vehicle is what some people would call it. Next up, we're going to be taking 1 inch, for those that don't know what kind of rebar I'm talking about. I'm going to be taking 1 inch thick steel rebar, the same kind of rebar they use to build the bridges for highways and stuff, to build the frame for the outer shell, or for the frame for the shell of the camper cabin, multi-purpose cabin, whatever we want to call it. It's pretty much pick your poison. And slowly but surely build up the cabin. The cabin will also be outfitted with enough medical supplies to be a mass casualty unit. On top of that, it'll be completely outfitted with all your fire rescue tools, including I would say about 400 gallons of water connected up to some small water pumps that you would normally find on a little brush pickup truck that you would find in small fire stations. And the truck will have two, I would say somewhere between 60 to 100 foot half-inch fire hoses mounted both to the front and back of the truck in case you got a battle of fire. Next thing I want to do is put a large, and I do emphasize on large, roof rack on top of the cabin, to where this roof rack will literally stick out about 1.5 to 2 feet in front of the grill of the truck, which will be supported by 1/2 inch thick rebars in the front. This roof rack will also be outfitted with locking, how would I explain this? Basically, these hooks and stuff that lock up will be for your rucksacks, your gear bags, and stuff like that for long distance traveling. There will be 6 of these hooks lined up alongside the roof rack. On top of the roof rack will be a good size compressorized container that's going to be outfitted to hold oxygen, the same oxygen that you would be breathing out of your SCBA packs. And that tank and container will will have its own oxygen hose set up to in case the entire crew is, say, currently driving through thick smoke in the California wildfire. The idea behind that is to fully give all crew members constant air through their travel through that thick smoke, so none of them are harmed or, I guess, banged up before they even step outside the truck. A little next up would be, I'm going to just go into a little bit of a brief detail of what how am I phrasing this? I would say it's just the command post in the vehicle is going to be outfitted with enough electronics, radios, and things like that to where if I so wanted to, I could be in Ireland talking to my family with the same setup right here in Texas. That's some long distance communication. So on top of that, the command section will have complete control over communications and basically everything that's going on. That little command post that's set up right behind the driver's seat of this truck will, I guess you could say, be the brains of this entire crew. Complete logistics and everything. Also be half my navigator. Next up, what we're going to end up doing is once the body is completely finished, before we add anything else, we're going to give it a complete brand new paint job. I was thinking something like a Chevy red paint job with silver decals. And once all that is finished, we are going to be, we're going to be welding on a bunch of toolboxes on both sides of the bed. For all your tools, regardless if they're for rescue or mechanics, regardless. You're going to be having somewhere around 20 toolboxes on the side of the bed of the truck. Let's see. After that's all installed and ready to go, we're gonna go ahead and just install 6 locking containers, small little containers that are supposed to hold spare SCBA tanks. In case your pack runs out, there's 6 of them on both sides of the truck on the outer side. Next up, after that, it's pretty much just getting the emergency lights, red, white, and an amber traffic directional light bar. Wiring all that in hopes we can find some good speakers and a badass radio to put in there, just so we have some music up in there. Other than that, the last little nitpick details would be, well, there will be 4 wireless remote controlled spotlights that will be mounted to the roof on top of this truck, with integrated HD infrared night vision cameras to allow us to, well, light up the surrounding area and be able to keep monitor on everything that goes around the truck. That's pretty much just a good brief rundown of just the majority of the projects. I didn't go fully into the hydraulics, now that I'm thinking about it. The hydraulic system isn't just going to run the brakes, it's also going to be running the power steering, since this truck doesn't come with power steering, and if it does, it'll be air powered. So we're just going to go ahead and switch that out for a hydraulic powered steering, as well as have it hooked up to, I would have to say, 100-gallon liquid tank that will be the housing for all my hydraulic fluid. Last little bit for the hydraulic system is I'm going to be running running hydraulic lines with quick detach and connect connectors at the end of these lines for pretty much any of your hydraulic tools, or hooking up a trailer that's gonna have hydraulic braking on it. So other than that, that's pretty much the gist and rundown of what the first project is all about for Operation New Hope. Once the project is fully completed, I hope to be within the next week to at most 2 weeks be taking this truck all the way out to California for its full-fledged first, I guess you could say, test run. And if it does as well as it's supposed to be designed to, I'm pretty much gonna make a deal with the California Fire Service, and I'm not gonna get a whole bunch out of it, but they're gonna get the keys and the title to this whole thing. And that's just going to be about it. And we're going to head back here to start project, finish up a couple other things, and then work on the next project. So that's pretty much all it's about. So I guess stay tuned for any other updates and any other videos that are hopefully soon to be coming out here in the near future. So I will catch you guys later, and you guys stay safe. Godspeed. Peace out.